Milo sat near the window of the starship, staring at the bright stars outside. His fingers tapped the metal bench softly as the ship moved through space. He had never been this far from Earth before. Now, he was heading toward the homeworld of the Varelians, a strange alien race that once fought against humans in a long and terrible war. The war had ended only 6 months ago. Many lives were lost on both sides. Milo had fought in the early battles. He was just a regular soldier, not a hero. But one thing made him different. During a mission on a jungle moon, he had rescued a small alien child trapped under a fallen tree. He did not know it at the time, but that single act had changed everything. After peace talks began, the Varelians requested that the human who saved one of their young be part of the first delegation to visit their capital. It surprised everyone. Milo was not a diplomat. He had no special training, but orders were orders. And now he was on this mission, traveling with 3 human diplomats to the Varelian hive world called Nira. Milo did not know what to expect. He had seen the Varelians in battle. They looked like tall insects with dark blue skin, glowing eyes, and long arms. Their queen, Zera, ruled them through a hive mind. She was said to be wise and powerful. She had never met a human face to face before. The ship landed in a glowing valley surrounded by crystal towers. Everything shimmered with a soft blue light. The air was thick but not hard to breathe. As Milo stepped out of the ship, he saw Varelians standing in perfect rows. They did not speak. They simply watched. A tall Varelian with golden markings on her body stepped forward. She introduced herself as Scylla, the queen's voice in the outer hive. She welcomed the humans and led them through a long tunnel filled with lights and sounds that Milo could not understand. The tunnel opened into a large hall where the queen waited. Zera stood on a raised platform. She was larger than the others, with wings folded behind her back. Her eyes glowed brighter than any he had seen. When she looked at Milo, something passed between them. It was not fear. It was not anger. It felt like recognition. "You are the one who saved our young," she said in a voice that echoed without sound. It came directly into their minds. The diplomats bowed politely, but Milo just stood still. "Yes," he said. "I only did what anyone would have done." Zera tilted her head slightly. Many humans did not act with such care during the war. "You are not like the others. You carry something different." Milo did not know what she meant. He stayed quiet. Zera looked at the diplomats. "You may return to your quarters. I will speak with the soldier." The others hesitated, but followed Scylla out of the hall. Milo was now alone with the queen. "You are not afraid," she said. "No," Milo replied. "Should I be?" Zera walked slowly down the steps of her platform. Her wings brushed the air behind her. "Fear is common, even among my own kind, but you feel calm. That is unusual." Milo gave a small nod. "I've seen worse." Zera moved closer. She stopped only a few steps away from him. Her voice came softer now, still inside his mind. "When you saved our young, your blood touched her. Our minds carry memory. That moment has been passed through the hive. You left something behind." Milo frowned. "I didn't mean to do anything strange. I just wanted to help." Zera nodded slowly. "That is why you were chosen to come. There is something in your nature that connects with ours. It is rare. We wish to study it." "Study me?" Milo asked. He felt a little nervous now. "Yes," the queen said. "Not to harm, only to understand. Our kind is changing. The war showed us that we must learn, or we will vanish. You may help us take the first step." Milo was quiet for a moment. He looked around the hall, at the glowing lights and the silent statues on the wall. Everything felt old and full of meaning he could not read. "I'm just a soldier," he said. "I don't know what I can offer." "Sometimes," Zera replied, "a soldier carries the key to peace, not war." She raised her hand and placed it near his chest, but did not touch him. A faint light passed between them. Milo felt a warmth spread through his body, like a calm wave in the ocean. Zera stepped back. "We will provide a chamber for you. Rest. Tomorrow, we begin the learning." Milo nodded slowly. He followed a young Varelian guide down the hall. As he walked, He thought about what just happened. He had not come to teach or lead. He only wanted to do his duty and return home. But now, things were different. He was not just a guest. He was part of something bigger. And deep inside the hive, something had already begun to change. Milo woke up early the next day. The room he slept in was not like any room on Earth. The walls were alive. They glowed softly and changed color with his breathing. The bed was made of soft threads that shaped themselves around him. It was quiet, but not silent. He could hear a gentle hum coming from somewhere deep inside the hive. He sat up and stretched. He still could not believe where he was, a human soldier in the middle of an alien world. He looked out of the round glass window. Outside, the hive city was waking up. Varelians moved in lines across long bridges. Flying creatures passed between. The towers, everything looked calm and beautiful. Soon, a Varelian named Scylla came to guide him. She was not as tall as the queen, but her eyes were kind. "The queen wishes to see you," Scylla said. Her voice was not inside his head this time. It came through a translator she wore on her chest. Milo followed her through long tunnels. The walls sparkled with blue crystals. Some Varelians stopped and looked at him. None spoke. Their eyes followed him, full of curiosity. Scylla led him to a large garden inside the hive. Strange plants grew here. Some floated in the air. Others opened and closed like they were breathing. There was a small stream of clear water running through the center. Zara, the queen, was standing near the water. She turned when she saw him. "Good, you are awake." Milo nodded. "Yes, I slept well. Thank you." Zara motioned for him to walk with her. They moved slowly through the garden. Flowers opened as they passed. "This place is called the Heart Chamber," she said. "It is where I come to think. Only those I trust may enter." Milo looked around. "It's peaceful here." "Yes," Zara said, "but it has not always been. Before the war, this chamber was silent. I was silent too." Milo walked beside her. He was still unsure what she wanted from him. "You said yesterday that my blood touched the child I saved," he said. "What does that mean?" Zara stopped near a tall plant with silver leaves. Varelians are connected by a mind thread. Every thought, every feeling is shared in the hive. But something changed when you saved our young one. Your blood mixed with hers for a brief moment. That memory became part of the thread. She looked at him carefully. "You are human, yet your presence is now part of our collective memory. That is not natural. It is new." Milo took a deep breath. "I didn't mean to cause trouble." Zara shook her head slowly. "It is not trouble. It is change, and change can be a path to growth." They walked again. A gentle wind moved through the leaves, though there was no sky above them. "You were chosen because your mind is strong but quiet," the queen continued. "Most humans speak much and act quickly, but you listen, you wait. That is rare." Milo looked down at the water as they passed over a bridge. "I've seen enough war. I don't want to rush into more." Zara stopped again. She faced him. "Would you allow us to study your mind and body? No pain, only learning. We believe you may hold something that can help both our kinds." Milo hesitated. He thought about Earth, about his life as a soldier, about the quiet nights he spent wondering if the war had changed him forever. Then he nodded. "If it helps, I'll do it." Zara gave a small bow of her head. "Thank you. Today we begin." She led him into a different part of the hive. It was a tall chamber filled with soft lights. Floating shapes moved slowly in the air. Some looked like machines, others looked alive. One of them floated near Milo and scanned him with a gentle beam of light. "This is the knowledge chamber," Zara said. "Here we learn, here we share." Scylla returned and handed Milo a smooth stone. When he held it, a picture appeared above it. It was a memory. He saw himself as a child, playing in a field back on Earth. He quickly let go of the stone. "Your thoughts are stored in your body," Zara said. "We read the surface, never deeper than you allow." Milo felt no pain, just surprise. Hours passed as he learned about the Varelians. He saw how their hive worked, how they raised their young, how they build their cities using living stone. He spoke with Varelian thinkers who asked him questions about humans. They wanted to know about music, about laughter, about dreams. In return, they shared their own songs, their own stories. One story was about a queen who had once bonded with a creature from another world long ago, but the memory had faded. No one knew if it was true. When the learning ended for the day, Zara walked him back to the heart chamber. "You are not like I expected," she said. Milo smiled a little. "Neither are you." She looked at him again with that strange, deep gaze. "Your presence makes the hive feel lighter. That is not something I understand, but I want to." Milo stood beside her under the glowing trees. For the first time since the war, he felt a little hope. And far inside the hive, where the mind thread touched every corner of their world, something began to glow. 3 days had passed since Milo first met Queen Zara. Every day had been filled with strange lessons and gentle tests. He had walked through the knowledge chambers, spoken with hive teachers, and even shared small memories using the glowing stones. The Varelians were different from humans, but they were not monsters. They were curious, proud, and full of quiet wisdom. Milo spent most of his time with Zara. She asked him questions about Earth, about family, about emotions. He told her simple stories from his life. She listened closely. Sometimes, when he spoke about his past, she would close her eyes, and the walls around them would glow with soft colors. She said the hive was listening to. One morning, Scylla came to his room with a message. "The queen invites you to a joining ceremony. It is a tradition to welcome peace and unity." Milo stood up, surprised. "What kind of ceremony is it?" Scylla answered with her usual calm voice. "It is symbolic. There will be light, music, and sharing. You will not be alone. The queen has chosen you as her guest of honor." Milo felt unsure, but nodded. "I'll go." Later that day, Scylla gave him special clothes. They were smooth and light, made from the threads of the hive itself. The color changed slowly as he moved. He followed Scylla through the glowing tunnels. As they walked, he saw other Varelians moving toward the same direction. No one spoke, but the air felt alive with energy. The ceremony was held in a great dome. Above, the ceiling was clear, showing the stars in the sky. Crystals surrounded the space and played soft sounds as the wind passed through them. Hundreds of Varelians stood in circles around a glowing platform in the center. Zara stood on the platform, wearing golden threads across her wings. She looked taller, brighter than ever before. Her eyes met Milo's, and she gave a small nod. Scylla led him to the center. He stepped up beside the queen. The room grew quiet. Only the music of the crystals remained. Zara spoke first. Her voice filled the space, not through sound but through thought. "Long ago, before the war, our hive shared songs with the stars. We were not alone in the universe, but fear and loss closed our minds. Today, we open them again." She turned toward Milo. "This human saved one of our young. He did not do it for reward. He did not ask for thanks. That moment lives in our thread. It brought us here today." She raised her hand. A small floating stone appeared between them. "This is the bonding light. It joins minds for a brief time. We use it during peace ceremonies. It allows trust to pass freely. I asked this human to share the bond." Milo looked at the stone. It glowed softly. He remembered what the stones had shown him before. Images from his childhood. Feelings from his heart. He felt nervous, but nodded. "I'll do it." Zara touched the stone. Milo followed. As soon as his fingers brushed its surface, his mind felt a warm wave pass through it. He saw images not his own. A younger Zara, sitting on a high tower, watching the stars. A moment of fear during the war. A moment of hope when she heard of the human soldier who saved the Youngling. In return. The stone showed her Milo's memories, his first day as a soldier, the time he held a flower in the rain as a child, his quiet walks alone during the war. Then, the stone faded. The bond was made. The crystal sang louder now. The hive felt the connection. The room glowed with colors Milo had never seen. Varelians began to move in slow circles, a dance of light and form. Zara turned toward him again. "Now comes the rite of echo. A drop of our essence is shared, so that both races carry the memory of peace." A small silver bowl was brought. Forward. Zara pricked her finger with a soft needle and let one drop of glowing fluid fall into the bowl. Then she looked at Milo.Syla spoke beside him. It is only a symbol, a drop of blood. It carries memory, not harm. Milo nodded. He took the needle, pricked his finger, and let a drop fall into the bowl. The mixture turned to bright gold. The crystals around the dome glowed at once. The ceremony was complete. Varillians moved forward one by one and placed small stones in a circle around the bowl. Each one held a thought, a wish for peace. Milo stood silently, watching it all. When it ended, Zara led him outside. The sky was dark, and two moons hung above the hive. She looked at him quietly. "You gave part of yourself today," she said. "I didn't expect all this," Milo answered. "But it felt right." Zara placed a hand over her chest. "The hive felt your truth. You may not know it, but your presence is changing us." Milo looked up at the moons. "Maybe we're changing each other." Zara looked at him for a long moment. "We will rest now," she said. "But tomorrow, we may wake to a new beginning." As Milo returned to his room, he felt something inside him shift, not pain, not confusion, just a quiet, deep feeling that something important had happened. He did not yet understand it fully, but he knew the hive had accepted him, and something within the queen's gaze had changed. Far below, in the deep core of the hive, ancient lights blinked for the first time in centuries, and in the silence of the mind thread, a new pulse began to grow. Milo sat alone in the garden chamber, the same place where he and Queen Zara had first walked together. But now, something felt different. The plants still glowed, the water still flowed gently, and the lights on the walls still shifted with soft colors, but the air carried a strange feeling. It was like the hive was waiting. Since the ceremony, he had noticed small changes. The Varillians looked at him differently. Their eyes held more curiosity, more attention. Some even bowed their heads when they passed him. He didn't know why. He had only done what they asked. Zara had not spoken to him much since the ceremony. She had returned to the deep chamber where the queen rested and connected with the hive mind. Syla told him that the queen needed time to recover after the bonding. But Milo also felt strange. His body was fine. No pain, no sickness. Yet there was a strange energy inside him. At night, he saw flashes in his dreams, bright lights, voices he didn't understand, and sometimes a heartbeat that didn't feel like his own. One morning, Syla came to him with a serious look on her face. "The queen has asked for you," she said. Milo stood up quickly. "Is she all right?" Syla did not answer right away. "She is changing." They walked deeper into the hive than ever before. The air grew warmer. The tunnels were older here. The walls no longer sparkled. They pulsed like they were alive. Milo's footsteps echoed strangely. They reached a large chamber guarded by tall Varillians. They stepped aside when Syla approached. Inside, the chamber was dark and quiet. Only one soft light glowed above the queen. Zara stood at the center, eyes closed, wings partly open. She looked tired, but her skin glowed faintly. She opened her eyes when Milo entered. "You came." "Of course," he said. "Are you all right?" Zara looked at him with eyes that seemed deeper than before. "No, I'm not as I was." Milo stepped closer. "What's happening?" She lifted a hand, and a thin beam of light wrapped around both of them. Images filled Milo's mind again. Memories from the ceremony, the bonding, the drop of blood they had shared. "The bonding light did more than we expected," she said. "It awakened something in me. Something old, something hidden." Milo looked confused. "You mean the connection? The memory sharing?" "No," she said. "More than that." She placed a hand on her chest. "There's life growing inside me, and it is not fully Varillian." Milo froze. He didn't understand at first. Then the meaning reached him. "You mean," Zara nodded slowly, "it carries part of you." Milo stepped back in shock. "But that's not possible. I'm human. You're not. We didn't do anything like that." Zara's voice stayed calm. "This was not a physical act. It was deeper. Our essence joined through the ritual. The hive responded to that bond. I am the queen. My body reacts to the mind thread. When it touched your life, it accepted it. Milo ran a hand through his hair. This wasn't supposed to happen. I didn't mean for this, I know. Zara said, neither did I, but it has happened. And now, the hive knows. As she said this, the walls of the chamber began to glow. Milo felt pressure in his mind, not pain, just presence. The hive was listening, watching, feeling everything they said. Some in the hive believe this is a gift, Zara said, a new path. But others are afraid. They believe I have been changed too much. Milo sat down slowly on a nearby bench. I'm just a soldier. I didn't ask for any of this. Zara moved closer. But you were chosen. Not by me. Not by the council. By the thread itself. By the life that runs through all of us. Milo looked at her. He saw no anger in her face, only calm and something like sadness. What do you want to do? He asked. I want to protect this life, Zara said. I don't know what it will become, but I feel its heartbeat. It is strong, and it is not a mistake. Milo stood up. Then I'll help you. I didn't expect this, but I won't walk away. Zara gave a small nod. You may become a target. Some Varelians already speak against you. They say the queen has been corrupted. Let them talk. Milo said, if this child is real, if it matters to you, then I'll stay. For the first time, Zara looked unsure. You may lose your home, your place among your people. I never really had a place, Milo said. Maybe this is it now. A long silence passed between them. Then the hive mind pulsed again. A wave of soft sound filled the chamber. It was not music, but it felt like one. A song of warning, maybe, or a song of beginning. Outside, the hive began to change. Lights turned red in some areas. Guards moved faster. Voices in the tunnels became sharp and loud. The news had spread. Zara sat down on a low stone seat. We have little time. I must speak to the council. Some may try to remove me. Others may support me. But the child must be protected. Milo stepped forward. You won't face them alone. Zara looked at him, and for the first time, her hand reached out and gently touched his shoulder. You are not just a soldier now, she said. You are part of something far greater. And deep in the hive's core, the new heartbeat grew stronger. Tension spread through the Varelian hive like a silent storm. The glowing walls no longer pulsed with peace. The soft colors were replaced by dim reds and sharp shadows. Whispers ran through the tunnels. Messages passed from one mind to another. The queen had changed. The queen carried something new, something not pure. Milo stayed close to Zara. The queen had not left the deep chamber since the news spread. She rested often now. The light inside her body glowed brighter each day. Something inside her was growing, and the hive could feel it, not just with eyes or ears, but with thought. Scylla came to them with news. Her usually calm voice carried worry. The High Circle has called a meeting, she said. They want the queen to step down. Zara stayed still, her eyes closed. She had known this was coming. Milo stood beside her, fist clenched. On what grounds? He asked. Syla looked at him. They say the queen is no longer fully Varelian. They fear the child. They fear your presence. They believe the bond between you has changed the hive. Milo looked at Zara. Is any of it true? Zara opened her eyes. Yes, I have changed. The hive has changed, but not in the way they fear. Syla nodded. Half of the council supports you. The other half wants to remove you. The hive is divided. Milo stepped forward. We should talk to them, explain what happened, tell them the truth. Zara stood slowly. The truth is not always enough. Some will not listen. Some see this child as a threat to the old ways. But it could be the future. Milo said. Zara looked at him. That is what they fear most. Later that day, the council gathered in the Crystal Hall. It was a tall chamber with glowing walls and long stone benches. The highest members of the hive sat in silence. Zara entered with slow, graceful steps. Milo walked behind her, his presence drawing stares. One elder stood to speak. He was tall and sharp-eyed, with silver patterns on his skin. His name was Orn, Queen Zara. He said, You carry a life that is not Varelian. You allow a human to walk freely among us. The hive is confused. The thread is clouded. We ask you to explain. Zara raised her head. The life I carry is a part of me. It is also a part of the one who helped end the war. This union was not planned. It was born from peace. Another council member stood. Your body carries change. We can feel it. It spreads through the mind thread. What if it weakens us, Milo? Step forward. Change doesn't mean weakness. On Earth, we learn to grow by mixing ideas, cultures, and even families. Maybe this is your time to grow too. Oren narrowed his eyes. You speak of growth, but what if the child brings chaos? What if it breaks the hive mind forever? Zara looked around the hall. The hive mind is already changed, not broken, but opened. For the first time, we feel not just one kind of thought, but another, a second voice. Soft but strong. That voice is this child. The council went silent. Then a third elder, softer in tone, spoke. If the child brings new ways of thinking, should we fear it or welcome it? The room divided. Some nodded in agreement. Others shook their heads. Oren raised his voice. You are queen only because the thread accepts you. If it no longer does, you must leave the throne. Zara looked calm. Then let the hive decide. A deep vibration filled the chamber. It was the sound of the thread, a signal that the entire hive would join in thought for one purpose. Every Varelian in the city paused. Their minds reached toward the center. They would choose, not with words, but with unity. Milo felt a strange pressure in his head. Not painful, just heavy, like a wave of thoughts passing over him. Zara stood still. Her hands folded. Her wings shimmered with gold light. The silence lasted for minutes. Then the walls shifted color. Half of the room glowed green. The other half glowed red. Sila whispered, the hive is split. Zara turned to the council. Then I will not force the throne. I will step down. Milo looked at her in shock. Are you sure? Zara nodded. I will not lead a broken people, but I will protect this child, even without the crown. Oren, step forward. If you leave, you may not return. The old rules forbid it. Zara faced him. Then I will build a new place, a home for those who choose to walk a new path. Milo stepped beside her. I'll go too. Some of the council members stood in protest. Others stayed seated, thinking. Zara gave one last look to the crystal hall. I was your queen, she said. Now I will be something else, a mother, a guide, a bridge between two worlds. She turned and walked away. Milo followed. Sila hesitated, then joined them. Outside, the city was quiet. Word had already spread. Some Varelians stood along the path, watching in silence. Others bowed their heads. A few turned away. Zara walked without fear. She no longer wore her crown. Her wings were bare. But her step was strong. Milo looked at her. What now? We go above ground, she said. We begin again. And so, the queen who was no longer queen, the soldier who never expected this path, and a child not yet born left the great hive behind out in the sky. The two moons shone brighter than ever before. The future had split in two. One path held fear. The other held hope. And from that hope, a new world would rise. Above the ground, far from the deep tunnels of the hive, the world looked different. The sky was wide and full of stars. The land was quiet. Gentle winds moved across the silver grass. Crystal trees swayed under the twin moons. Milo stood at the edge of a small hill. Behind him, a new camp had been built. It was simple. Just a few structures made from soft stone and living vines. But it felt peaceful. For the first time since arriving on this planet, Milo felt like he could breathe without fear. Zara was resting inside the main chamber. Her body was glowing more each day. The life growing inside her was strong now. Milo could feel it too, not just through her, but inside his own thoughts. Sometimes when he closed his eyes, he heard a soft rhythm. It was not his heartbeat, it was the child's. Sila walked up the hill and stood beside him. She looked tired but calm. More Varelians arrived today, she said. Some left the hive to follow Zara. Milo nodded. How many? About 60, she said. Mostly workers and young ones. They say they feel the change. They say the thread called them here. Milo looked out across the land, small. Lights glowed in the camp below. The peaceful Varelians moved slowly, building shelters, planting roots, and shaping the land into something new. He turned to Scylla. What do you think will happen to the hive? Scylla took a breath. Orn and his followers will keep control for now. But the thread is not the same. Something has changed deep inside it. Some feel fear. Others feel hope. It is no longer one mind. It is beginning to split. Milo frowned. Is that bad? It depends, Silas said. Varelians have always moved as one. But maybe it is time to grow in more than one direction. Later that night, Milo sat inside the main chamber with Zera. She rested on a soft bed of glowing vines. Her eyes were closed, but her thoughts were open. She spoke softly into his mind. The child dreams. Milo looked at her. You can feel that. Yes, she said. It sends images through the thread. Colors, lights, shapes I have never seen. It thinks without fear. Milo sat beside her. He placed his hand gently over hers. Do you think it will be safe here? Zera opened her eyes. Not forever. Orn may try to stop us. Some fear the child's mind will break the thread completely. What will you do if they attack? Milo asked. Zera looked at him with calm strength. I will protect this life, even if I must stand alone. You're not alone, Milo said. I'm here. Others are too. Zera gave a small nod. Then we must prepare. Not for war, but for something harder. A new way of living. The next day, a human ship arrived above the camp. It was a small science vessel sent from Earth. The humans had heard of Milo's strange mission and wanted answers. 3 human officials stepped out, wearing simple uniforms. One of them, a woman named Dr. Anya, walked toward Milo with careful steps. We received your message, she said. The part about a child, a Varelian queen, and you? Milo nodded. It's true. The child is growing. It's not like anything we've seen before. Dr. Anya looked around. You've built something here. A mix of human and alien. But Earth is asking questions. Some leaders are afraid. Milo sighed. I expected that. We need to know, she said. Is the child dangerous? Zera stepped out of the chamber then. Her wings folded around her, glowing softly in the light. The human stepped back, unsure. The child is not a weapon, she said. It is a bridge between your kind and mine. Dr. Anya listened closely. Can we study it? Zera looked at her. Only if you come in peace. No harm. No control. You may learn, but you may not take. Dr. Anya nodded. That's fair. The human scientists stayed for a few days. They ran soft tests, listened to the heartbeat, and watched the way the hive had changed. Some were amazed, others were silent. On the 4th day, Dr. Anya called a meeting. We've spoken with Earth. They are divided. She said, some want the child brought to a human lab. Others want to cut all contact. But there are those who believe this is a chance for peace. Milo stood up. So what happens now? You must choose, she said. Do you want this child to grow here, under the open sky? Or do you want help from Earth? It may be safer, but you may lose control. Zera looked at Milo. He took a deep breath. Let the child stay here. With both kinds, let it grow under Timoons. Let both Varelians and humans protect it. Dr. Anya thought for a moment. We will send your message. Earth may not like it, but they will hear it. The meeting ended. That night, the camp was quiet. A soft rain fell from the sky. Milo stood outside, watching the stars. Zera joined him. Her hand touched his. You made a hard choice, she said. He looked at her. It was the right one. She smiled. Just slightly. Then let us begin a new story. And far in the distance, beyond the hills and clouds, both Earth and the hive listened, some with anger, some with fear, but some with hope. The decision had been made. The future would not belong to just one kind. It would belong to both. The sky was filled with color as the twin suns rose above the quiet land. Soft rays of gold and silver light spread over the camp. Dewdrops on the crystal trees reflected the light, painting the hills with shimmer. It was the beginning of a new day. But for Milo and Zara, it was more than that. It was the beginning of a new life. Inside the main chamber, the air was warm and still. Milo sat beside Zara, holding her hand. Her glow had grown brighter. Her breathing was slow, calm, and steady. Varelian healers moved around her gently. Silas stood nearby, watching with quiet care. "It's almost time," Zara whispered. Milo nodded. His hand squeezed hers gently. "I'm here." Zara closed her eyes for a moment. Her mind reached into the hive thread. Not all could hear her anymore, but those who still followed her felt the signal. The child was coming. The room slowly filled with Varelians who had joined the new camp. They sat in silence, watching with respect. Some humans from the science team were also present. None of them spoke. They only waited. Then a soft sound filled the air. Not a cry, not a shout. It was like the sound of water touching smooth stone. It echoed through the chamber, then faded. The glow round Zara changed. The healers moved closer. A few minutes later, one of them stepped forward, carrying something wrapped in soft threads. The room grew even quieter. The healer placed the child gently into Zara's arms. Zara looked down with wide eyes. Milo leaned closer. The child looked unlike any being they had seen before. Its skin was pale gold, soft like a human's, but small lights moved beneath the surface. Its eyes opened slowly, glowing a soft blue like the Varelians. Tiny markings shimmered. On its forehead, a small wing-like shape rested along its back, folded like a sleeping petal. Zara let out a soft breath. "It's beautiful." Milo stared in wonder. He had seen many strange things during the war, but nothing like this. Silas stepped forward, her eyes shining. "It carries both your lights and something new." The child reached out with its small hand and touched Milo's chest at the same time. Every Varelian in the room sat up straighter. Their eyes widened. They had felt it. A wave passed through the thread. It was not a command, not fear. It was warmth, a thought, simple and pure. Peace. The message was not sent by the queen, not by Milo. It came from the child. Zara looked at Milo. "It speaks." Milo nodded slowly. "And they're listening." Later, the camp became a place of celebration. Food was shared. Varelian songs filled the air. Humans and aliens danced together, though their steps were not the same. Laughter was heard, not just from voices, but from the mind thread as well. The child was given a name that carried both meaning and balance. The humans call it Lumen, meaning light. The Varelians gave it a second name in their own tongue, which meant first of new skies. Lumen grew quickly. Within weeks, the child could walk and speak, not in full sentences, but through thoughts and feelings. It learned both human words and Varelian patterns with ease. It played with the young of both kinds. Where Lumen walked, the air felt calm. But the world beyond was not calm. Orin, leader of the hive, sent messengers. Some were harsh, others asked questions. Many did not understand how a child could carry both Varelian and human traits. Some demanded the child be brought to the hive for study. Others warned of danger if this new being was allowed to grow freely. Zera refused each time. "We do not fear the child," she told them. "You do. That is your burden, not ours." Milo stood by her during every talk. He answered the human side, giving reports to Earth. Some leaders still wanted to take the child, but most watched and waited. When they saw no threat, only silence followed. Over time, the voices of fear grew weaker. The camp expanded. New homes were built. Varelian builders shaped living stone into graceful forms. Human hands added light systems, gardens, and tools. Together, they created a new kind of city. They named it Harmonia. Zara gave up her title as queen, and instead became something else: a guide, a teacher, and a mother. She walked among her people freely. She taught both humans and Varelians how to share thought and feeling. She reminded them that unity was not the same as control. Milo trained young Varelians in peacekeeping. He also shared stories with human children who came to live in Harmonia. His days of war felt far behind. him, but the lessons of those days still lived inside him. One evening, Milo and Zara stood on the same hill where they had once watched the stars. Lumen played below, running through the soft grass with a group of younglings. Zara spoke softly. "Did you ever think it would end like this?" Milo smiled. "No. I thought I'd go home after the mission, maybe return to Earth. But now this feels more like home." Zara looked at the stars. "The hive has changed, not all at once, but slowly. Some still fear, but others send gifts, messages, questions." Milo nodded. "And Earth, they are watching, but with more hope than fear." Zara reached out and held his hand. "You gave me a new future." Milo looked into her eyes. "You gave me a reason to stay." As the stars brightened above, and the wind moved across the fields, the sound of laughter rose again. The laughter of a child who belonged to both worlds, and in that moment, it was clear humanity had not just survived the stars. It had found something more. It had created a new beginning, a new dawn.